right, from a pocket watch to a roll-top desk, we're finding out if a few items are hidden treasures. Antiques expert Paul Brown is here with the answer for us, and a few surprises here as well. So, Paul, it's good to see you.
Good morning. Nice to be here.
Good morning. Welcome back.
Thank
you.
We're
going to start with this roll-top desk.
Okay, the roll-top desk. Is the picture coming? There it is. So the roll-top desk is basically an American sort of alteration of a European thing. It used to have it used to be called a cylinder desk, and it was one solid piece of wood up there, that thing that you pull down. And so in the 1850s, it was patented this new sort of slat technology. And what that did, it didn't really improve the desk, but what it made is much more effective for mass production. So in the next 10 years, it basically was a game changer. Everybody had the roll-top desk from that point forward. 4 basic centers of manufacture. There's New York, Michigan, North Carolina, and Indianapolis. And you can't really tell from this picture, and the viewer did not share a maker's mark, but you can the bow front of the drawers coming out there, and the other picture you could see basically screams Indianapolis. This piece was probably made in Indy, probably around the late 1800s in golden oak. Yeah, and by the way, it's probably good for another 100 years.
I was gonna say, it looks like it's in really good shape.
Yeah, it's missing a couple knobs, but by and large, it's in pretty good shape. Now, when I first came into the business, these things sold like hotcakes. I mean, like you would get one in maybe 2-3 weeks, it would sell. Styles have changed a little bit, so they don't sell quite as fast, but it is still a very desirable desk. This was an executive desk. That's about 5 feet long. You got extra cubbies up top. The other picture shows some nice raised paneling. It's a well-made desk, still saleable, about $1,200.
Wow!
I know, right?
$1,200.
And in another 100 years, it'll be worth even more.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not going anywhere.
Good to know. And you know what? They just don't make them like that
they
anymore.
Absolutely
that will last like that.
Look
but
at
they
all
don't.
the places you can put stuff.
$1,200, not bad. Right? Okay, the pocket watch.
Okay, the pocket watch. Now I'm gonna go ahead and address the elephant in the room right there.
Yes.
So obviously we got some very unsavory imagery. It is part of history, and we're gonna talk about that in a little bit. The viewer's father was a World War II veteran. He was deployed in the European theater shortly after D-Day, June of 1944. He spent his 21st birthday at the Battle of the Bulge. And if you've read anything about that, horrific conditions, the winter that year, terribly cold, lots of terrible bloody battles. At any rate, as was common for soldiers and basically throughout the history of warfare, to bring back a wartime trophy, basically from a fallen soldier. I've seen guns and knives and jewelry and glasses. In this case, this man picked up a pocket watch. And it's not so much the pocket watch that's important. This medal here, that's called the Knight's Cross for War Merit. That's a double cross. You've got the Iron Cross, then you've got the cross swords. Only out of millions of people eligible for this, only 118 were ever made. Okay,
Whoa.
I know, right? Think about that for a second. So that tells me a couple things.
118.
That's it, out of the whole German Wehrmacht. So what that tells me is you could probably find out exactly whose this was. One. The other thing it tells me is whoever our viewer's father took this off of was likely the commanding officer, if not a very, very high-ranking officer, and he snatched this back. Like I said, only 118 made. You got to figure most of them probably gone, right? I mean, they're probably lost to posterity and whatnot. The value of this piece is more so in the metal. The watch itself, probably about $1,000. The market for this, however, is small. Now, don't get caught up. I'm of the personal belief that history should be preserved, even the dirty bits, even the evil bits, because we can learn a lesson from them. That being said, the market is small. So the person that buys this is not, don't fall into the trap, it's not going to be a Nazi. It's probably more of a student of history or a curator of some sort. I saw one exactly like this, and I was surprised that I found a comp for one exact medal like that for $4,000.
Oh,
so if you add that together with the pocket watch, you're talking about $5 grand. Now, it's not going to sell overnight, but it does have some degree of value.
You have to wonder, too, if that could have a place in a museum.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah,
that's where you would find
I think that'd be, you'd have it appraised and then donate it, take the tax write-off.
Goodness gracious.
That'd be what I would do.
$5,000. That's pretty impressive.
Anyway, let's go to something happy.
Yeah, let's go to
Come
Santa.
on, get out of Nazi stuff. Look at that, Santa Claus. Everybody loves Santa Claus, right? And that's the Coca-Cola Santa Claus.
Of course.
A gentleman by the name of Haddon Sundblom was an American illustrator and ad man in Michigan in the 1930s. He was hired by the Coca-Cola company to basically, and he's credited with creating the modern image of Santa. And if you go ahead and Google images of Santa, say, previous to 1930, he wasn't always this sort of larger-than-life jolly figure. And by the way, the fact that he's in Coca-Cola red, that was not a coincidence. So that's the image that we now have of that. Obviously, he worked for the Coca-Cola company until 1970, creating, obviously, other things. But this is what he's most famous for. Calendars, print ads, television commercials, they still break out every year or so.
Oh yeah, we've seen the Santa before.
He's not particularly rare because a lot of them were made, but he is saleable. You can go to any number of antique stores, antique fairs, advertising fairs, that sort of thing, and you'd see him for about $300.
Okay.
Yeah, and he's
by
the way, he dates to about the 1940s based on the lines in his face. Yeah, he's got some age on him.
Jolly old Santa.
Jolly old Saint Nick, right?
Okay,
so Merry Christmas, ho ho ho, have a coconut smile, all that stuff.
Merry Christmas. Right? Now you have started a new business. What are you up to now?
Well, it's not so much my business. My dad, we got into the prop rental business with all the film and TV production blowing up around town. It turns out people want antiques for sets.
Yeah.
You know, so we've been renting a lot of.
You know a thing or two about
well, maybe.
About that, right?
I don't know if that helps at all, but I definitely know where it is. And he's opened up in Roswell. It's called Red Baron's Private Reserve. We've been selling or renting a lot of things you see on TV.
Nice.
Not in this set, but you know,
yeah, well,
like
not
more
yet.
Of an antique
we haven't
set.
hitched up yet. That's pretty cool.
It's a little modern in here. Yeah.
Definitely a good market, though, to be in here in Atlanta,
indeed.
so it makes a lot of sense. So Red Baron's Private Reserve is in Roswell. We'll have a link on fox5atlanta.com. Just look for the viewer information story. And if you think you have a hidden treasure, email pictures in a description to goodday@fox5atlanta.com. You can follow Paul Brown on Twitter at AuctionKingATL. Always good to have you with us, Paul. Thank you so much for coming in. We appreciate it. Let's check in with Fox 5 Storm Team meteorologist Ryan Beasley.